This is staggering. Because today, what we're doing is we're talking about Vancouver Canucks, quote-unquote, superstar forward, Elias Pettersson. And some concerns that have been brought up about Petey and his work ethic, preparation, etc., etc., etc. Stuff that we have heard before, right? Stuff that we saw Rick Tocchet, Patrick Allvin, Henrik and Daniel Sedin specifically highlighting as areas of improvement for Elias Pettersson. But what if I told you that the work ethic, preparation concerns for Petey have potentially extended so far into the past, beyond the point where Pettersson fell off as a point-producing superstar, and even before then? I wanted to give a big shout-out over to Harman Dale. Now, I'm gonna be real, if there's anybody that does not need a shout-out from me, it's probably Harman. He is one of the most gifted athletic writers, beat reporters in this city when it comes to covering the Vancouver Canucks. He's smart, he speaks well, he does radio hits, he's on TV, he does it all. But the funny part is, Harman has started to do YouTube videos, and quite frankly, these videos are some of the best content that you could have on the internet. They're video essays, there's a very good thesis in every single one, and there's a lot of research, analytical thinking, and a great script behind every single commentary that he makes. Big shout out to Harman. He does some fantastic work. And this video is one that's been going viral over the past few days. You may have seen it already, how a $92 million superstar vanished in his prime. Obviously, he's talking about Elias Pettersson. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about from Dale's video is specifically the Elias Pettersson preparation discourse that's been so prevalent over the past few months. Here's a tweet from Demko's Kneebones that goes out there and essentially says what we need to know. Harman Dale reporting that a top executive with the Canucks said they signed Pettersson to a bridge deal in 2021, not because of cap constraints, but because of concerns with his character, preparation, and conditioning. This has been an issue going back 5 years now. Now, Demko's Kneebones then provides the source. It's the same video that we looked at. There is a little bit of arguing in the replies. Do you have the quote? It's on Harman's YouTube. So you don't have the quote. I'm working. You can go watch his Pettersson video on YouTube if you want to hear his quote. You can't just say something and then when somebody asks for a source, you say you don't have one. It's in the comments, bro. I'm not going to transcribe a YouTube video. I'm paraphrasing because it's an audio recording. Now, I will say, I do 100% agree with the assessment here. The video is worth the watch. Go out there and give Harman 15 minutes of your time, because this video is one of the best on Canucks YouTube. But what we're going to do, because there are some tools that can help us out with this, is we're going to go out there and use the Google transcription feature to just show us the transcript and read what it is that Dale says about Elias Pettersson and the agent back in 2021. Or not the agent, but like the executive back in 2021. Let's go out there and scroll. The video talks about how Elias Pettersson was a very fit and hard-working player back during the Travis Green days. His stamina and pace were genuinely freakish. Travis Green called Pettersson a man on a mission. But then, he talks about how things started to shift. Take a look at this. It's bizarre, but it takes me back to a conversation that I had with a Canucks executive in November 2021. I was in the press box for a road game and ran into a very high-level Canucks front office member. We chatted about tons of things, and one of the topics that came up was Pettersson. The month prior, Pettersson had signed a shorter 3-year bridge contract, whereas Quinn Hughes got a longer 6-year deal. This Canucks exec told me that one of the reasons they went shorter on Petey is because they had some reservations about his commitment and personality type. Harman says that at the time he didn't take it seriously. This was before Pettersson's game had fallen off. But now that we're seeing some of the same things being brought up from guys like Tocchet and Adam Foote and Henrik Sedin, Pettersson needs to prepare, Pettersson needs to work harder in the off-season, he needs to come into camp in shape, this and that. in a way, it validates everything that one Canucks executive was talking about back in 2021. If we take a look at the tail of the tape over here, Pettersson, yeah, he's making $11.6 million a year. That was a big money deal, 8 years long till 2032. But the contract that he had beforehand was $7.35 million for just 3 seasons. Take a look at the body of work that Pettersson had produced before that contract got signed. You had 2-point-per-game seasons that were separated by injuries and the COVID bubble, and then he ended up playing just a little bit more whilst those injuries were being repaired. He ended up getting another extension, the big 8-year extension in the midst of his 89-point campaign. He was already a 100-point producer during the new contract negotiations, so from the perspective of, hey, this guy's scoring 100 points a year, and he was on pace to doing the same thing in the first half of 23-24, it makes sense for the Canucks to have doubled down and have given him that $11.6 million AAV deal. It's just very unfortunate, the timing of how everything fell apart for this guy, with his knee tendonitis and the injuries all coming together when he signed the contract, which is what led to the fall off in the second half of this year. You see 89 points in 82 games and you say, wow, that's a fine season for anybody. Yeah, it's a great year, until you realize that Pettersson's splits had him producing the majority of this point production in the first half of the season. Even in the playoffs, he had 6 points in 13 games, 1 goal. The Canucks made the second round. They were 1 game away from making the third round, and Pettersson wasn't really doing anything. And then he stopped producing entirely the next 2 years. Chalk it up to locker room dynamics, chalk it up to bullying, chalk it up to injuries or what have you. But one of the things that has been there the longest has been this element of his personality, his preparation, his competitiveness. If he really is that guy that is going to want to work hard to get the best results. It's odd because we knew that he was that when he was growing up in Sweden, when he was breaking down his shot dynamics. There were articles in old magazines of the hockey news showcasing Elias Pettersson in Sweden and his backyard setup, his shooting mechanics, how he broke everything down and how he wanted to be the best version of himself. I don't remember actually if it was in the hockey news or if it was in the province. It might have been a Botchford piece. I'm not sure. That's also what Harmon talks about in his video, by the way. There is a lot of long-term results of what Elias Pettersson was able to do during the time of his development, and that's highlighted as a very big positive of his story. But that just went away, it feels. And now when you look at it, Pettersson, when you watch him on the ice, he doesn't have that same tenacity, he doesn't have that same dangerous quality to his offense, and for whatever reason, this is something that maybe we should have been prepared for. Because some Canucks executives were talking about it as far back as 5 years ago. Character, preparation, conditioning, his commitment. This has been an issue for a long time. And so with all that said, why the heck don't they trade him? I saw a report he doesn't want to be traded, and he will use his no move. However, he is the player league-wide that would benefit the most from a change of scenery. Totally bizarre situation. It has been said that Elias Pettersson does not want to leave Vancouver. We'll see whether or not that holds true if a trade offer comes in place that Ryan Johnson is interested in. If push comes to shove, will Pettersson exercise his right to stay? You can let me know your thoughts in the comments section. How do you feel about this idea of him and his conditioning being an issue for 5 years now? I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.